Well, this week we are going to add to our growing collection of gnome friends. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy it is to make this little lemon-themed gnome. Alright, I wanted to start out today's tutorial a little differently by showing you the pieces on the Cricut mat. Because there's a couple of sets of pieces here that you're going to need to keep straight. And I would recommend taking them off and then setting them in a pile, each set, as I talk about them. So you have two sets of 3 circles. These are the two pieces that'll form the rind and the membrane of your lemon, and they're 2 different sizes. This set is one size, this set is another size. There's just a slight difference in size, so it's not really immediately apparent until you start stacking them. So keep those together so they're easier. You have your shoes here, you have your back of your gnome here, you have your nose, your beard, you have left and right hands, and you need to keep the lefts, the lefts and the rights together. You have 8 sets of 2 lemon segments, and those are going to be glued together in just 2s. We have 3 hats and we have 3 hat brims. I am going to peel these off the mat and then put them on my work tray, get some glue out, and then I'll be right back and we'll start gluing together. All right, I've got all the pieces off of the cutting mat, and they're all, as you can see right there, in groups as I'm going to glue them together. So I will glue a few on camera, and then I will turn the camera off and do the rest off camera so you don't have to watch that painful process of slowly gluing everything. Talk to you about a few secrets here if you haven't watched these projects before. I use a thick tacky glue to attach my pieces. The project is cut from just a medium weight white cardstock, the kind you find in the craft store over where they make card making stuff. It's not very expensive. I use white for several reasons. Number one being that I have not had the fading problems with the white that I have had with colored cardstock. When I use white and paint it with a good quality craft paint, I find that the colors are fairly stable. They don't fade away. If I use a bright colored cardstock, I find that in a very short period of time, my finished project has faded many times, and then it's not cool anymore. Now the pattern is a free download. You can find it by going to my blog post that is tied to this video. The link for that will be in the description box of the video. In the pattern download, you will find 2 types of patterns. You will find a PNG image to use with your Cricut or your Silhouette or any of those type of cutting machines. I use a Cricut for mine. You will also find, and along with that, there's a text file. The text file gives you some important information as far as sizing your project so it will come out the right size. And I also usually include a few little hints and tricks that I would like you to keep in mind when you're downloading them. Like what settings I use and things like that on the Cricut. I don't know anything about a Silhouette, so I can't give you much advice over there. You will also find a PDF file, and for the PDF is for using to cut by hand, and there are some basic instructions there too, as well as a link to the video so you can go back and refer to it. So that is how you get the pattern. I would appreciate if you can make as many of these from my pattern as you want. You can sell them. Anything you want to do with the finished product. Just please don't take my pattern and make copies of it and sell that, because you guys coming and checking the video and checking the blog is the only compensation I'm getting for these. And if you're stealing my idea and my time if you go and make copies of that and sell the pattern itself. That's not fair, and it's not being nice. So I am going to turn the camera off. I'm going to finish gluing these. I will probably put a weight on them to help them dry flat. The weight being on them does make them take a little longer to be dry, and they do need to be completely dry for our next step. But I find that it's worth the fact that they do dry much better. They dry flatter, they dry looking much nicer if I put a weight on them. So when they are completely dry, I will come back and we can start doing the painting on this. So I'll see you then. All right, so I have my pieces, they're all glued together and the glue has completely dried. Be sure that your paper is dry before you put it on tape. What I've done, I've got some washi tape that I've got sticky side up and I've got it taped down. And then I've got a piece of wax paper under it. That will keep my tray a little cleaner, a little easier to clean up. And I've divided by, like I said, by colors. So this is the smaller of the two rounds. That and the beard will be white. The body and the hat brim will be green. All of this, the larger circle, the hat, and all these little wedges, those are going to be yellow. These will be a flesh tone, which I'll have to mix because I still don't have flesh tone. And the shoes, I'm just going to paint with this brown. So I'll do a few things on camera and then I'm going to turn the camera off because we all know how to paint. So let's work on the white stuff because the white, the beard, I do like to do a little color mixing on. And you can do whatever colors you want. I will have the paints that I use, I'll have a photo of it on the blog post. And on the white, do paint the paper white. It does a couple of things. Number one, it will make it blend in with the other pieces. And it will help to disguise the fact that this is little stacks of cardstock and not something heavier. All right, so those are our two white pieces. Now I'm going to take just a little bit of, not that, of gray. Still have metallic paint on my table. I'm going to use the same brush. Actually, I'm not going to use the same brush. I'm going to use this dotting tool. And I'm just going to put a couple of dots of gray paint on the beard. Then with the same brush with the white paint in it. That way the beard isn't pure white. We won't see much of the beard when he's finished. We'll see a little bit, and that way it doesn't look like just white. It gives it a little depth. All right, let's go ahead and paint the green on the body. Now, I like to tape these down simply because it keeps them from running all over my tray and getting lost. It keeps everything a lot neater and a lot easier to deal with. Stick it down. Try to get the edges, but you can always pick up the edges later. All right. So I'm going to do this line yellow, these flesh, and that's the nose and the two hands. These are the shoes. They will be brown. When I get everything painted and the paint is dry, I will come back and we can start assembly. All right, my paint has dried overnight. I decided not to put a second coat on. I kind of like the variation and we won't see a lot of green. The rest of them all look great. I am going to pull the tape up and attempt to keep these all on the tape, because there's a lot of little pieces and at this point I don't want to lose something and have to make a new one. I guess I should have pulled the tape before I started the camera. All right, if I keep this on here, then I can put it off to the side and I know where everything is. So I'm going to bring over the body piece. I'm going to get down another piece of wax paper. The body piece and the beard. Those are the first two we always work with. I'm also going to get the two round pieces. And I'm only going to need a little bit of glue. I don't want to use a lot of glue on this. I don't want to glue a lot of pieces right now because I want these to get put together so they won't get lost or won't get moved when I go to put the new pieces in. Sorry, it's early morning and I'm not really awake yet. Now the beard, let's do a little dry fit here. The beard is designed to just barely or not quite touch the bottom and then be centered side to side. If you watched these gnomes before, watch me put them together, you know that. We've done a lot of these. And you've got a couple of minutes where you can manipulate that around and make sure it's right where you want it. Now the idea with this is there is just the smallest amount of yellow showing. So, and you will want to get that centered. And I think on the final pattern I will make this white piece, or make the yellow piece probably just a tiny bit bigger around, so yours will show more than mine does. Mine is just barely showing, and I would like it to show a little bit more. All right, I am going to leave these to dry. I think I am going to put a weight on them as soon as I turn the camera off. And when that glue is dry, I'll come back and we can start putting the rest of the pieces on. All right, we are going to do 2 stages of gluing. We're going to add the hat to the gnome. Normally at this point in time, I'd also add the shoes on. But I just went to pull the shoes off of the tape and realized I completely forgot to paint them yesterday. So I just painted them. They'll be dry. I can add them in a later time. It'll be fine. We're also going to add some of the lemon wedges, lemon segments onto the lemon. I'll do a few on camera and do the rest off camera. So let's line the hat up. Now the hat is designed to fit. So line it up to where you like it. It's fine. And it overlaps the beard. So it goes at kind of an angle. And I like to put just a little pencil mark here. This way I know where I want to line it up when I get it on here. I'm going to put glue on here. Sometimes I put it on the gnome, sometimes I put it on the hat. It doesn't really matter. But this way I can line it up on the back pretty closely to where I want it, and then turn it over, get the hat at the angle I want, and set him off to the side. Now I will be fixing the lemon, the back circle for the lemon, so when you guys do your pattern it will have a little, it'll be a little bigger, but I will show you how to fix this. So I'm going to just spread some white glue, a thin layer of tacky glue here. And I'm going to start out by seeing if my raw spaghetti trick will work on this. I think they're light enough, but I'll find out soon. Yes, they are. But I recommend not doing that. Do 2 straight across from each other. Looks like I did not line these up as well as I could have. That's a piece of paint. If you've got paint hanging off the edges, I should have done that off camera, but that one's ready to go. And that one's straight across from there. And then I'll repeat that process, one halfway here, here, and here. And then I'll let my glue dry. When my glue is dry, I'll come back and we'll go on to the next step. All right, I have this all glued together, and I have already gone in and fixed the pattern so that your lemon will fit a little bit better than mine did. So let's start by adding some glue in this little cutout of the bottom of the hat. And if everything is cut to the pattern specifications, as you know, as it was supposed to be, either by hand or with a cutting machine, this little nose should, come on, fit in there, should fit pretty well, because that was the piece I actually used to cut that little divot out. And let's put some glue on each side. No, they're too heavy. I was hoping. Make sure that your little shoes do not hang down below the base of the gnome. And don't worry about little bits of glue that pop out. We are going to put a clear finish on this to make it look more finished and make it just look nicer. All right, I'm also going to, while I'm here, add some glue on the back of my lemon. And put it right in the middle. Your lemon from the pattern will be slightly bigger than this one. The way I fixed it was I made both the round layers larger. So I don't remember if I talked about that earlier or not. So I am going to let this glue dry, and then we can add his little hands and the brim of his hat, and he will be all put together. So I'll be right back. All right, now that the glue on everything else we've added is set, I'm going to add just a dot of glue on each side of this. And I've got a piece of glue hanging off of there. It's not helping me any. Get a fresh toothpick. A little bit of glue right there. And you can put your hands on any way you want. Just be sure that you keep the left and the right on the right sides. There is a thumb on each one. There you go. You can put them as far apart or as close as you want. Then we have our brim to our little hat. I thought this would just finish off his hat nicely today. And you could certainly get more creative and, you know, paint stripes on the hat or however you want to do it. I try to keep it simple on the videos. Let's see if I can get this centered. And there we go. Now we just need to let that glue all dry. And once that's dry, we can go ahead and give it a coat of Mod Podge and then see what it looks like on the dollhouse porch. So I'll be back when that glue dries. All right, all my glue is dry, so I have some satin Mod Podge out, and I'm going to chance it and use it straight from the bottle. I very seldom do that, but I'm kind of in a rush right now. I have something I have to do, and it's time sensitive, so, but I want to get this done. So a thin, even coat over all the surfaces. This does a couple of things. Number one, it seals the paint and makes it look more finished. Also, if for some reason something gets on here, it's easier to clean up. I mean, things happen even around the dollhouse. Also, it's another insurance policy that those layers are going to stay together, that nothing will peel apart. Just be sure that you brush it out to a thin coat, because Mod Podge has a nasty habit of remaining sticky if it's too thick. The higher the gloss, the more of a chance there is of that. So satin is kind of the medium, it's the medium shine, so it's the medium as far as having a risk of remaining sticky. Once the front is dry, I'm going to pick this up and put a clear finish on the back for the same reasons, and also to finish the back so nothing peels from the back of it, and it just looks more finished. When everything is dry, I will meet you on the porch of the dollhouse, and we'll see how our little Mr. Gnome looks with our other items we have over there. So I'll see you in a bit. All right, so I've put our little gnome friend over on the front porch with some of the lemon items we made last summer. I love how he turned out. I hope you do too. Be sure and check the blog post for photos and hints and a rundown on how this was made, and also, most importantly, the link to download the free patterns. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure and hit the like button. Leave me a comment. What kinds of things would you like to see in future videos? If you enjoy my content and haven't subscribed, I encourage you hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.